Hey, mi gente, it's your girl Bianca from This Latina Travels, and welcome to another IG Live. And today we're going to talk about Beyond the Stigma, ADHD, and adventure through a neurodivergent lens with my girl Jen. So I'm super excited. Oh, she just joined, so I'm going to request her in because it's daytime and I wanted to get the beautiful sun. So, yay! All right, let's see.
Hey,
Hello. Good morning,
yeah.
Jen.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Just, getting moving on my morning here. I mean, about 3 hours behind you, so you've been up a while already.
Yes, I know. It's just always crazy to me how time zones are such a thing, right?
Yeah, no, it is. It still throws me off, even after years of travel and international living. It's still, yeah. I've still
Yes.
totally messed up schedules because of it, always.
Yes, well, I am super excited to share this space. I'm super excited you said yes. I met Jen a couple weeks ago in Kansas when we were at the TVEX conference. And so this is our first time doing an IG Live together
Yeah.
and just sharing this space. I think it's just so important. I had no idea that October is ADHD Awareness Month. And so I
Yeah.
would love for you, Jen, to first do some introductions. I want people to know who you are. I read a little bit about the name of why you guys chose that, which I love because I love Australia, but I won't spoil like why, you guys went into that sense. But yeah, let's share a little bit about who we are.
Okay. So I'm Jen. I'm a mom of 6 kids, and more than half of my family is neurodivergent. Pretty much almost all of us, actually, in some way. Neurodivergent being a big umbrella term for ADHD, autism, complex PTSD, multiple other mental health challenges fall under that category. And so we started this business to help other families like ours see that this does not have to be a limitation for travel. You can still go out and have a lot of fun together, and you can still build really great relationships while you do it.
Yes, and what is the name of your blog?
So we are the Dinkum Tribe blog, and Dinkum is an Australian word. It means real or genuine, and that's really what our goal was. We saw a lot of over curated travel when we started this 4 years ago, and we were like, there's no families that look like us out there. So
Mm,
we wanted to talk about that and say, hey, you know what? It doesn't have to look perfect. It still can
yes,
be exciting and fun.
yes.
So, and then tribe, of course, because we want to be including people. It's a community. It's not just us.
Yes, I 100% agree. So thank you for, laying out the definition because I even think for a lot of us, especially I'm going to say in the Latino community,
Yeah.
the word even not neurodivergent or even the word ADHD has a huge stigma behind it, right?
Yeah.
Like I think and we had this conversation when we met, like I feel like I'm undiagnosed with ADHD because it was never something that we talked about. Like,
Yeah.
and I think about this because I'm like, how my life would have changed so much in school. Like if I,
Yes.
would have gotten either the right medication or the right diagnosis or just things or having these conversations like early on. So now I would love for us to like jump into the misconceptions or myths that there is around ADHD and autism and any other like neurodivergent categories that you would put into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the biggest myths, I'm going to just pull out three of the ones that I hear all the time. The
Mhm.
first one is that it's an excuse.
Mm,
Second myth is that it's a choice. And the third myth is that it can be cured.
mhm.
And with the it's an excuse, it's not. It's an explanation. When someone tells you they are neurodivergent, they are not usually looking to excuse behavior. They are usually trying to help you understand that it is an actual difference. Neurodivergent means brain difference. Your brain is literally different, and we can actually see this now on autopsies of people who have had ADHD and autism and these things. We can see it in brain scans. There are physiological differences. So when someone shares that with you, they're not trying to excuse, they are explaining so that you can
Mhm.
understand. Um, Another thing is that people think it's a choice. A lot of the behaviors around ADHD and autism and these neurodivergences, they're not a choice. Um, Somebody who's frequently late, that's a big one for ADHDers, is a lot of times they're late or things don't get in on time. They actually see time completely differently than
Mhm.
those people who are neurotypical. That's kind of the opposite of neurodivergent. Their
Mhm.
time, there's only now, and not now. And those are the only two times it exists.
Yeah.
So it's not a choice they're making. Their brain functions differently. And the other thing I want to point out is that people think that some of these things are curable. Autism,
Mhm.
ADHD, they're not, because they're not a disease, you don't cure it. You learn to live with it and you learn to make adjustments, but it's not about curing it. It's about learning to live with it. Just like, you can't necessarily cure having to wear glasses all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can, but sometimes like
Mhm.
your vision just declines with age and you're going to be wearing glasses or some sort of help. And we don't think that's something you cure. We give you glasses so you can
Yeah.
work with it.
Yes, I like that breakdown because I like that example too because I think a lot of times like again it goes back to like that stigma, right? Like people think, oh, because you have ADHD or autism you can't travel, right? Or you can't do day-to-day things, and which is not the case. So like how do you think like people or this world has been shifting if you see any of these like limitations or differences that you would say, especially with everything that you've done with traveling with your family?
I see that people are starting to notice, they're starting to set up accommodations for people who are dealing with these different things. One of the things I see that I'm super excited about is a lot of museums now and a lot of venues are creating sensory friendly hours. And I love
Mm.
that, where they're creating a space, like even Disneyland and some of these big amusement parks and theme parks, they're creating quiet spaces. They're creating a space where someone can get away from the noise and the crowds. And
Mhm.
that is absolutely huge for those who are neurodivergent. My husband likes to share the story of when he was 3. His parents took him to Disneyland for the first time. And as he walked into the gates,
Mm.
he burst into tears
Mm.
because he was so overwhelmed by the number of people and just all the input. A lot
Yeah.
of people who are neurodivergent, they take in way more information than the average person, and it's overwhelming to them. They don't have the same kind of filters as the average person. And so creating those spaces, creating hours where you turn the music down in a museum, or where you have some of the lights low, or where you provide noise canceling headphones, those are
Mhm.
some of the things I'm seeing, and it makes me really excited because like they're really simple
Yeah.
accommodations. Most of them don't cost a lot of money. It's just
Mhm.
thinking ahead.
Yeah.
So that's
No.
exciting to see that happening.
The inclusion part, right? Like
Yeah.
the simple things like such as that. So when you do start planning trips like this, how do you like even reach out or how do you even find out that these venues or these places have things like this?
So a lot of them will list it on their websites.
Mhm.
They will have, like, if you look at their calendar, they'll say it if they're offering it.
Okay.
Another way is if you follow creators like myself or like Elijah's Baby Bucket List, or some of these other creators, Dream Jar Travel, some of the ones we met at our
Mhm.
conference recently. A lot of times we're sharing when we find out a local place is offering this.
Mhm.
We're sharing it in our stories. We're sharing it in our blog posts, in our videos, because we want parents to know,
Mhm.
hey, this is a thing. So
Yeah.
like recently I shared the story, OMSI is our big science museum here in the Portland area, and they have a sensory friendly accessible hour once a month. And so I just put that up on my stories, and I had a friend of mine say, oh, hey, are you going to this? And
Mhm.
that's one of the biggest ways, is just getting the word out
Yeah.
on social media.
Yes, and that's something I love, especially within the blogging community. I don't know if this is what you sense, like, but I know that I don't like to gatekeep things. Like, I want
Yeah,
people, right? I want people to know, like, that these are experiences that everybody can do, and I love that you share that in your platform. And so, while doing this, would there be any must-have tips or prep routines that you also share? Maybe something that you can give our audience today that if they are neurodivergent families, like what would they do to start planning like a trip?
So one of the things that is huge for us is lists and
Mm.
routines. And I know that for ADHDers, sometimes, saying make a list, it can be overwhelming. And
Yeah.
so, and one of the things that a lot of, especially ADHDers, struggle with is this perfection concept, that it has to be just right for it to work.
Hmm.
And that's something I have to say to my husband, to my kids who have ADHD, it doesn't have to be perfect to still do the job and to still get you there. And this black and white thinking can really be hard. So one of the things we have is we have a pre-printed packing list, and we
Okay.
use it for every trip. And we go through it, and I hand my kids each their list, and they're gonna pack their stuff, and then I'm gonna check it to make sure, it works. But having the same list every time, when you're done with your trip, you add things that you notice you missed, or take off things that, okay, I actually never needed that. But that way you always have that list ready when you're ready to go somewhere. Another thing we do is we look ahead and find out, okay, are there these sensory friendly activities? Or we plan activities around our kids' special interests and around our adults' special interests, because that will automatically help them to focus on what is going on. And another thing that we watch for is activities and tourism things that we can do that are not time sensitive. So, for example, a lot of places you might sign up for a tour guide and you have to be there at the specific time or else you miss it. We tend to prefer to do like audio tours or things that you can move through at your own pace, so that my kids who want to go deep on that topic can spend an hour looking at that one painting.
Yes.
For that one exhibit. And those of us who are like, read the sign, look at the picture, move on, we can do that. So just allowing for that kind of schedule flexibility helps a lot.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you have all these neat examples. I'm a list person myself. So I feel like my list is never ending, but like my first thing for if you go to my blog, like I give my free packing checklist, because I
Yep.
do believe like whether or not I have ADHD or not, like lists to me are everything.
Yeah.
And I love that you incorporate that with your kids, because you're teaching them, right? Right? Already
Yep.
like, hey, like this is what you need to do during every trip, and preparing them, and organization skills and all that stuff. So I love that. What would you say while you've been traveling all these years is some wins, whether big or small, that you've realized like as a family, we can do this. We can travel to all these different places.
So a lot of them have been realizing that our travel didn't have to look like everybody else's. I think a lot of times when I see travel, other people posting about travel online, a lot of times they're posting about, okay, we went to this restaurant, then we did this activity, then we did this activity, then we went to lunch, then we did this like there's a
Mhm.
lot happening.
Yes.
And so for our family, one of the biggest things we had to realize is we don't need to jam our schedule full. And we don't even want to jam our schedule full. We actually, now when we travel, we try to pick one or two big activities that we're going to do for the day,
Mhm.
and that's going to be it.
Mhm.
And we're going to leave space for us to take a rest, or for our kids to, people demonize screen time. But honestly, for a lot of neurodivergent people, it is a regulating thing. It helps them to, like, for one of my daughters, she's both ADHD and autistic. And for her, we'll let her listen to music at the table, because when we're having dinner together, because we want her to be present, but it's just overwhelming for her with all the noise. And
Mhm.
so being okay with, okay, us doing this trip is going to look a little different. We're not going to get to see 20 things. We're going to see 5, and we're going to all really enjoy it. And then we're going to rest and give ourselves that space. Um,
Mhm.
not always eating in restaurants. One of the things we do,
Mhm.
our kids, a lot of them have sensory issues with certain foods. And so we go to the grocery store for our lunches, and we pick up the familiar foods that they already like and know, and we'll do lunch as a picnic instead. And it doesn't matter if they're bouncing off the picnic bench or, running around and then come back and take 2 bites. Like, that's some of the flexibility we try and build in. And learning that we could do that even on a month-long road trip a couple years ago was really just encouraging for us,
Mhm.
that once we gave ourselves that space, we all could enjoy it and we could have some amazing experiences.
Yes, I love it. It's like you gave yourself permission, which is
Yeah.
what we all need to do. Like, I think at the end of the day, like you said, like not everybody's travel is gonna look the same. I compare this to like also like my age, right? Like when I was in my early 20s, like I was backpacking the world, just
Yeah.
being able to sleep on a whatever bed. Now I'm in my mid 30s and I'm a little more like, no, I need luxury and I need like a good night's sleep, and I don't need to like just pack everything in one day. Like I
Yeah.
like just like you, like I like my rest. I
Mhm.
like sleeping in. I like not sometimes having an itinerary. And
Yep.
those days are sometimes the best days for our travels. So I love that. So what would you say is something that you would love your friends and family or people in the community to know? Like, how can we create more of these inclusive spaces or have like, just these conversations?
So one of the things that I remember that we deal with this a lot right now because all of my kids are in public school, and so that's a place where deadlines and times are.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that's so important is recognizing that their sense of time, a lot of neurodivergents are going to struggle with time, and they're going to be stressed, extremely stressed if you have them, if things have to be turned in a certain way at a certain time. And so one of the biggest aspects is just allowing more time. Like it takes them longer.
Mm-hmm.
And like for one of my daughters, she really, it takes her longer to process, but then what she puts out is top quality.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that a lot of us have to learn in life, is that just because you can get something out on time doesn't mean it's going to be at the level, like it may not be reflective of their abilities.
Yes.
So that's one of the huge things. And I love that we have a lot of teachers who are starting to realize this now, teachers who are saying, okay, you know what? There's no late fee if there's no point deduction if something comes in late, as long as you get it in, or,
Yes.
extending the deadline. Allowing kids to move in class. It's a simple
Mm-hmm.
allowing, and the same thing in travel spaces. A lot of times travel requires you to sit. I think about especially on airplanes. You have to just
Mm-hmm.
sit still. So for us as a family, we try to avoid traveling on airplanes because, or if we do, we make it one flight because it's so hard to have stuck in a space with a small amount of people. Trains tend to work better for us, road trips.
Yeah.
And those are things that if you're in the travel community, recognizing that these families are going to need more just space and time. And that when you give that, it's going to be way more rewarding too. Like
Mm-hmm.
the quality of the experience and the way they're going to talk about your experiences are going to be better.
Yes. Do you have right now, like, the top of your head, like a place that you guys just loved so much as a family that you could share?
Yeah, so we went to Silverwood theme park a couple years ago, and that's.
They were at the T-Rex conference, right?
Oh, did you? Okay, I didn't realize that.
I think
Um,
so, right? So Silverwood? I could be wrong,
no,
but like I
you're thinking
think.
Silver Dollar, I think,
Oh,
but
just think, yes, yeah, you
but
are. Yes.
it's a similar concept. But
Okay.
Silverwood is up in Athol, Idaho, which is just outside of
Okay.
Spokane, Washington,
Mhm.
and it's very family friendly.
Mhm.
And it's very, they have like a quiet garden where you can go and just sit if you need to decompress. And everyone there is trained to offer assistance. And so that was a really cool place we went. Just recently, we went to the Amelia Earhart Museum in Atchison, Kansas.
Mhm.
I was on that trip, and I have never seen such an interactive museum. I mean, it was just so well put together. And I love when places take the time to think through, okay, what is something that can be touched? What's
Yeah.
something that can be listened to, that you can really immerse yourself in it, and take the time to build those kinds of quality experiences, because those go way further than just information dumping.
Mhm.
It
Yes.
might be really neat looking, but if you don't have a way to interact with it, that can really be a challenge. So I think that's another way that those are some great places that are doing a good job of it.
Yes, I like it. Oh, you would have loved. There was a museum that we went to. We did so much during our fam trip, but it was in Kansas. It was with the aerospace, and they had so many of these activities, like you mentioned, like in the Amelia Earhart, and it was huge. Like we had to go there like in less than an hour, but
Yeah.
we could have been there all day. And
Yeah.
that's right, me as an adult, so I can't even imagine like a child or somebody
Yeah.
who's
No,
younger.
yeah, absolutely. And for us, another thing that we've
Mhm.
had to realize is that even when we go to a place like that that's well designed,
Mhm.
it's okay if we don't see everything.
Yeah.
Like when
Hmm.
I was growing up, we were really, I mean, I was raised in a really poor family. And so if we were going to Disneyland, we wanted to get the most bang for our buck because we weren't going back again.
Yeah.
And like letting go of that mindset and recognizing that less is more a lot of the time, that's a big mindset shift that has helped us a lot. Like we don't have to see everything. We can
Yeah.
pick the things we like best and just do those.
Yeah, and that it's okay.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
okay.
It's
That's
just
it.
that.
I love that. So for a parent that's watching and that's saying like, is nervous about traveling with kids that, fall under neurodivergent, what advice would you give them?
Oh, let's see. I wrote it down. One
Yeah.
of them, don't overschedule. I've said it a couple
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Don't try to do too much.
Hmm.
Um, when you are, I think when you're planning a trip, it something that's been helpful for us is starting small. Like
Hmm.
when we first started getting used to traveling, day trips were huge. And figuring out how to do a day trip well was one of the best things that we found. Like, okay, so with a day trip, you're just going to pack your lunch. You're going to pack what you need that day. And it can feel overwhelming to do that at first. But when you've done that a few times, then you can start to say, okay, so now we can expand into this next thing. So for us, learning how to do like a beach day well, you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
feels it's an hour and a half from us here, and so it does take some planning, and we have to think through, okay, what kind of snacks do we want, what kind of gear do we need, what are we going to do if the weather doesn't cooperate, things like that. So I would say start small if you're thinking about traveling. Start with day trips. When you feel like you kind of have done that well, maybe do an overnight, and don't feel like you have to go hike the Grand Canyon the first time. Like, I mean, there's some great bucket list things to do, and don't get me wrong, those are great. Love them. But maybe for you, start by just go visit the top of the Grand Canyon and don't even get out of your car if you don't feel like you can. Like we just need to kind of adjust our expectations and say, okay, this isn't necessarily going to look the way everybody else's is, but it's still going to be cool.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's so ironic how you share that because when I talk about solo travel, I
Mhm.
talk about the same thing, Jen. I kid you not, because people
No,
always ask me like, what's the biggest tip that you have as a
yeah,
solo female traveler that's been to 6 out of the 7 continents? I tell people, I mean, my story's crazy because the first country I went by myself was South Africa, which is across the world. But not everybody's story has to be like mine. Like you
yeah,
can literally go to the next state over or
yeah,
even explore your own city. I think people are
yeah,
always so surprised of what's in your backyard. And
yes.
I'm like, there's so much to do. I can guarantee it. And if not, literally road trip or day trip, like you said. So I love that we share that same message because I
No.
think it's just so important that travel is also personal and it's unique to everybody's story. So I would also ask, like, what's one thing that you wish that everybody knew about ADHD and not like stigmatize it as a disorder, but as someone's identity?
So the thing that I wish more people could see is just how much fun it is. Um,
Mhm.
I love the spontaneity. ADHD, people who have ADHD are some of the most creative thinkers out there. They come up with these ideas and they're just brilliant. And a lot of times out of nowhere because they're processing so fast. Sometimes they come up with something and it's just off the cuff. Our house is hilarious. And not even because like we're particularly comedic, but because stuff happens and one of my kids will have a comment about it and we'll all just be rolling on the floor for the next 5 minutes because it's very random or and if you can learn to laugh too about some of the inconveniences, like, okay, we've lost our fifth hairbrush this month. Oh well, I guess we'll just buy them in bulk.
Yeah.
Like learning to laugh it off and to be like, okay, you know what, this didn't work out the way we thought it did. I dumped sugar instead of salt into the mashed potatoes, and the mashed potatoes are special now. you know,
Mhm.
like trying to just, if you can embrace the spontaneity and the fun, you
Mhm.
can have just a really great experience. And most people with ADHD are also very compassionate because they have lived
Mhm.
through so much difficulty already.
Mhm.
And that's something that I've noticed. They tend to have a huge heart for other people, and they tend to really be capable of great empathy.
Yeah.
Sometimes they seem oblivious, and that's true, but when you get their attention, they're often some of the most compassionate people that you'll ever meet.
Yes, I 100% agree. And to kind of wrap some stuff up, I would love for us to talk deep about how we have experience as travel bloggers,
Yeah.
travelers, how that has strengthened our like either family relationships or just our understanding. I would love for you to talk about that.
Yeah. So one of the things with travel is we just have to make adjustments along the way. Several of us deal with migraines in our household,
Mhm.
and sometimes that's connected to car sickness. So we like to road trip. And so one of the things we've had to do is, okay, somebody's really feeling sick. Well, we might be running late, but we're going to just stop and we're going to let everybody get out, take a few deep breaths, and walk around. And so learning to value the people over the time and over the experience and over the deadline, that's just
Mhm.
a life lesson that comes with travel, I think. Learning to manage being in a small space together. There are times where our kids are just like normal kids, they're picking at each other in the car and they're bothering each other. And we just turn around and we say, okay, we all are stuck in this car for the next 2 hours, whatever it is, right? We all
Mhm.
have to sit here. Nobody can leave. And if you keep provoking your brother, it's miserable for all of us. And, it makes them stop and think, oh, okay, this thing might not annoy me, but it's annoying him. And so I'm going to stop,
Mhm.
not because I want to, but because I want to have a nice trip with all of us. Like, I don't
Yeah.
miserable. So it really kind of forces you to have to think about and work with the other people around you. And I feel like that's a good life lesson.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the lessons that I always say, like, I think the lessons that you teach your kids, I don't have kids myself, but I see, my friends and family, and when they travel, like, it really just show them that the world is their oyster, that they can
Yeah.
see and do things that,
Yeah.
our minds would never, like, think. That's what at least I get out of whenever I travel, and what I hope when I share, like, my blogs or my posts is like when people see, like, Kansas, for example, they're like, wow, like I had no idea all that was in Kansas. I had no idea that food was there. And I'm like, see, like you never know until you
Yeah.
start traveling. And just all it takes is just going from one state to the other. So
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I loved our time together, Jen. I think you're an amazing, amazing person. I give you so much props because traveling with 6 kids, I can't even imagine. So giving you your flowers where it deserves. But thank you for just being you and having a platform that is just so open and so needed. So I
Yep.
can't wait to continue just sharing this, this community, this friendship. But I would love for our community to know where they can find you and how we can support you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And likewise, I mean, I just really appreciate your willingness to learn. That's such a huge thing. And I feel like that's something that being travel bloggers and being in travel really helps you to learn to be open to other perspectives. It's so huge, right?
Yes.
So to find us, we are on YouTube, TikTok. We're on most of the major social platforms. All of them are Dinkum Tribe. That's our handle, DINKUMTRIBE. And we also have a blog. We have a lot of free printables, free printed for you packing lists, like Bianca's got there too. And so we have a lot of those kinds of things that are available. Support us, liking, sharing. That's really the biggest thing. We just want to help other families find ways to keep moving forward, because
Yes.
when you're living with neurodivergence, you're in for the long haul and you need all the encouragement you can get.
Yes, so that's right. And being in community, I always
Yep.
say community is everything. And
Yeah.
so that's why I truly appreciate like this moment. And I will tag your profile in the comments or in the caption. And I'm sure we'll be in touch. And like
Yep.
I said, follow both of us.
Yeah.
We
Please do.
both have amazing blogs, amazing information,
Yeah.
and just like you said, I love the fact that you said less is more, and I 100% agree with that. And I think somebody else here in the chat also said
Yeah.
that, which I want to applaud because at the end of the day, our travel is our own travel,
Yeah.
and you don't have to compare yourself to anybody. There's no win or there's no right or wrong. Just travel. Like that's what
Yeah.
I'm sure both Jen and I just want people to do.
Yeah, it's a worthwhile endeavor in itself.
Yes, it definitely is. All right, Jen, well, have a wonderful day and thank
Yeah,
you for joining me.
yeah, thanks for having me. I hope we get to do this again soon.
Yes. All right, take care.
All
Bye.
right, bye bye.